Well, with over 40 appearances for the Melbourne Knights in the NSL, over 200 league games in Europe and over 20 caps for the Socceroos, it's the one and only Danny Tiatto, and he's back here where it all started, here at Knight Stadium. Danny, welcome to the Victorian Premier League show online and welcome back to where it all started.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a big adventure for me, and eventually I've worked my way back to where it all began, basically. And
it all began here, but it also started back at Bulleen. So you started there with over 40 games at the Lions before coming here.
Yep. Yeah, well, definitely. I started at Bulleen. Had a great couple of years there, and then got me the opportunity to come here and play for the Melbourne Knights, and it was great.
And how were you spotted by the Knights in terms of that transfer from Bulleen?
Basically, it was Faisal Diamichi's. He was playing here at the Knights at the time, and he sort of said to Mitko Basic, "I'll go and have a look at the young boy down there at Bulleen," and with Faisal's help, I ended up getting spotted by Mitko Basic and coming here to the Knights.
Speaking of Mitko Basic, what a team that you played in under 3 years, 2 championships, and in my opinion, one of the best ever club football sides to be assembled in Australian football.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was just one of those eras and one of those sides that come around every once in a while where, good bunch of boys get together and play some good football and get results, and we've done that.
And the Melbourne Knights with 3 years here, 2 championships, and then your opportunity, your break came into Europe. How did that happen?
Basically got into the Olyroos, the under-23 Olympic side. Went over to Atlanta, done okay over there, got spotted through agents over in Atlanta, the Olympics, and got to move over to Italy and played in the Serie B for Salernitana. So that's basically how it all sort of came about, how I made my move over to Europe.
And from Salernitana, the eventual move to the UK, Stoke City, Manchester City, Leicester City, some big games, big opponents. What an amazing decade that must have been.
Yeah, definitely. When you're putting yourself up against the best players in the world, especially when we did with Man City make it into the Premiership. You're playing against world stars, and that was an exciting time. But it's always hard when you're playing the likes of week in week out, like Henry, Vieira, and all those sort of players. They were daunting times, but you know what? Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Any game that comes to mind, or your most difficult opponent, or favourite player?
Well, I think we opened up the City of Manchester Stadium. And we played against Barcelona, and playing against Ronaldinho was a bit of a hard task, So yeah, there was a few, tackles getting thrown in there, but I think he's been one of the most, difficult opponents that I've ever played against.
And from club football, you also had the honour too of playing international football with the Socceroos, over 20 caps. Your experiences playing international football? Any favourite games, opponents?
We played against Brazil, a couple of times here in Australia with the Socceroos, and that was always great. Putting yourself up against the best players in the world as well, and one of the best football nations, I think, about. But yeah, just in general, always putting on the yellow top, the Aussie top is always a great honour. And I think every time I represent Australia, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Now, you retired from international football in 2005, had a stint back in the A-League, and ultimately it's coming back here to the Melbourne Knights now in the twilight of your career. Yeah,
well, I came back, had a bit of fun in the A-League, and then, got a few friends still here involved at the Knights, and, I always said, when I do, finish playing, I'd come back here and give them a hand some way. And I've still got the competitive edge, and I still want to have a bit of a kick about and enjoy it a little bit longer.
Now, you had that stint early on with the Melbourne Knights for a couple of games in the season. How did you find it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I got back in swing of things and had to take a little bit of time off. I went to the States, went to Vegas with some friends, and had a little bit of a party over there, and now I've come back, and last night we had the gala night, and now I've get back involved. I spoke to the people last week and last night, and basically I'll come back and play the remaining part of the season for them.
Now, speaking of the gala night, that's obviously capping off in this evening's match in the championship winning teams, 94-5 and 5-6, donning back on the boots with some absolute superstars that have graced this pitch here at Summer Street.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we had a great team back there, and seeing all the old faces like Mark, Andrew Marth, Mark Viduka, Mark Silic, Joe Batchak, and all the boys, and John McCuskey, all the boys. It's going to be great to come out here and have a kick again with them and have a bit of a laugh.
Well, you're here as a spectator watching all the proceedings against Green Gully this afternoon, but you're back as a player next week, signing on for the rest of the season with the Melbourne Knights. How have you found this afternoon watching it in the Mark Viduka stand? Yeah,
it's been good. Not a bad game. I'd like to be out there. I don't really like sitting back watching, but no, the boys are doing okay. We'll see if we can get a couple of goals in the second half and win the game.
Well, you'll be out there definitely after this game, playing in that championship reunion game. Danny, thank you very much for your time, but not only that, for all your services for football, whether it be at a local, national or international level.
No problem at all. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your time, Danny, and that's where we'll leave it. Stay tuned in the Victorian Premier League broadcast, and we'll be back with all the action from the second half between the Melbourne Knights and the Green Gully Cavaliers.